The United States Department of Defense (DOD) has added more than a dozen Chinese companies, including the world's largest drone manufacturer, to a blacklist of firms with alleged ties to the Chinese military, clearing the way for restrictions on their business. Shenzhen-based DJI Technology, which is estimated to control more than half of the global market for commercial drones, is among the 13 firms added to the blacklist released by the Pentagon on Wednesday. BGI Genomics Company, a genetic testing company, CRRC Corp., which manufactures rolling stock, and Xinhau Technology, a Hangzhou-based surveillance equipment maker, were also included on the updated list. This expands the Pentagon's initial list of 47 entities to 60, which included Chinese telecommunications equipment giant Huawei Technologies Company, which is already on the Commerce Department's so-called entity list. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why new restrictions on drone maker DJI by US DOD is a step in the right direction. Let's get started. This video is sponsored by the free-to-play military vehicle combat game War Thunder. We talk a lot about military vehicles on this channel, but what about trying them out for yourself? In War Thunder, you can choose from more than 1,200 playable vehicles from the 1930s to the 1990s and go to battle on more than 80 theaters of war. You can fly aircraft, helicopters, drive tanks, and command ships of all types and sizes, which have been carefully recreated from their real-world counterparts. It's available as a free download on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. So grab your friends and give it a try. All viewers of Defense Updates that register using the link in the description below will also get a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship and 3 days of premium account time as a bonus. The DOD announcement said, "The department is determined to highlight and counter the People's Republic of China military-civil fusion strategy, which supports the modernization goals of the People's Liberation Army (PLA), by ensuring its access to advanced technologies and expertise are acquired and developed by PRC companies, universities, and research programs that appear to be civilian entities." It added, Section 1260H directs the department to begin identifying, among other things, military-civil fusion contributors operating directly or indirectly in the United States. The United States government reserves the right to take additional actions on these entities under authorities other than Section 1260H. The announcement formalizes the de facto ban the DoD placed on the procurement and use of DJI drones by its staff since last year. Though the Pentagon has prohibited the deployment of all the off-the-shelf UAVs for official purposes since 2018, it specifically singled out DJI products as potential threats to national security last July. The 13 companies named this week allegedly have military involvement. The move paves the way for the U.S. Commerce Department to impose trade restrictions against those companies, including investment bans. The announcement comes after the U.S. Treasury Department last year banned U.S.-based persons from trading shares of DJI and 7 other Chinese companies over their alleged involvement in the surveillance of ethnic minority Uyghurs in China's far western region of Xinjiang. Military-civil fusion is a strategy and stated policy of the Chinese Communist Party (CCP) to develop the Chinese military into a world-class force. The institutional foundations of PLA's weapon development and research are copied from the Soviet Union, where state-owned factories and companies develop and manufacture equipment based on a top-down command approach. Other major weaknesses include monopoly in the defense industry held by state-owned companies, bureaucratic inefficiency, corruption, lack of innovation, outdated pricing, and contracting process. In 2010, Chinese researchers estimated that less than 1% of Chinese high-tech enterprises were involved in defense-related activity. Chinese policymakers preferred an American-style defense industry, where the allocation of resources is determined by commercial collaboration and a government procurement process. Military-civil fusion, or MCF, is an evolving concept with a common theme focusing on civil-military collaboration to drive better efficiency. MCF is also noted to promote the use of dual-use technology and two-way transfer, in which defense companies, universities, and research institutions can collaborate and share technologies between military and civilian sectors. Charles Rowlett, an analyst at Pennsylvania-based surveillance research group IPVM, told Al Jazeera the move against DJI was a warning to investors to steer clear of the company. Rowlett added, "Note that DJI has received investment from a PRC state-owned fund, China Shenzhen, which openly touts military-civil fusion as a core goal." The company said in a statement sent to Drone DJ, DJI does not fall under any categories set by the law to be included on the list. DJI is not a military company in China, the United States, or anywhere else. DJI has never designed or manufactured military-grade equipment and has never marketed or sold its products for military use in any country. Instead, we have always developed products to benefit society and save lives. We stand ready to formally challenge our inclusion on the list. It's to be noted that DJI stopped the sale and export of drones to Russia and Ukraine when it became clear both sides were actively using its products on the battlefield and a lot of negative publicity was generated. But it's clear that this measure hasn't helped. U.S. President Joe Biden has pushed to isolate Chinese companies with alleged military ties as part of a sweeping effort to counter Beijing in areas ranging from defense to technology and trade. This is much needed, but many more loopholes need to be blocked. For example, Chinese students take up advanced courses in engineering and science at prominent American universities and then go back to China to work for the Chinese military. Activities of the Chinese Communist Party are far-ranging. On the 26th of December 2019, a Chinese man in the United States was caught snapping photos of the Naval Air Station in Key West, Florida. The man went to the area early and started snapping clips of sensitive locations. As per reports, at about 6:50 a.m., some people in the vicinity saw him walking around a perimeter fence and entering the military facility from the rocks along the water. They even warned him that he was trespassing in a restricted site, which is also known as the Truman Annex. In the meantime, the U.S. military police noticed it and swung into action. This is not the only case of such type. It's evident China is trying to gain an edge by hook or crook. It's the right time for the U.S. to take action.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.